Did you know that some of the biggest sources of illegal immigration to the US come from a select few countries? In this video, we'll reveal the top 10 countries sending undocumented immigrants to the US in 2025 and explore the real reasons behind these migration patterns. Stay tuned for a bonus at the end that might surprise you. Stick with us to uncover these shocking beginnings and what's driving people to cross the border. Don't forget to subscribe and share your thoughts in the comments below. 1. Mexico. Mexico has historically been the largest source of illegal immigration to the United States, and data from Statista shows that as of 2022, an estimated 4 million unauthorized immigrants from Mexico reside in the US. This number, although still significant, has been declining in recent years. The reasons for this mass migration are complex, but understandable. Many Mexicans are driven to the US by a combination of factors: economic struggles, poverty, and a lack of opportunities at home. Violence, particularly from drug cartels and organized crime, also forces many families to leave their homes in search of safety. Family reunification plays a huge role too, with millions of Mexicans having relatives already settled in the US. Although the Mexican population of undocumented immigrants has decreased, it still remains the largest contributor, highlighting deep-rooted patterns of migration across the border. 2. El Salvador. Next on our list is El Salvador, a country facing an increasingly desperate situation. As reported by the U.S. Migration Policy Institute, in 2021, approximately 700,000 unauthorized immigrants from El Salvador resided in the U.S. El Salvador has become one of the top sources of illegal immigration in recent years. So why are so many Salvadorians fleeing their country? Gang violence is one of the main driving forces, with El Salvador holding one of the highest homicide rates in the world. Young people are often caught in the crossfire, either being forced into gang activity or killed for refusing to comply. Economic hardship and political instability compound these issues, pushing people to seek refuge in the US. Many Salvadorians have also benefited from Temporary Protected Status, TPS, which has allowed them to stay legally due to the unsafe conditions at home. However, as US policies shift, many are left uncertain about their future in the US. 3. India. India has quietly emerged as one of the most significant sources of illegal immigration to the US. The Guardian revealed that as of 2022, approximately 725,000 undocumented Indian immigrants were living in the United States. What makes the migration from India different from others? While India is economically better off than many other countries on this list, its citizens face unique challenges. Visa challenges, especially with regard to obtaining work permits, have caused many Indians to turn to illegal means of entry. The high cost of obtaining legal visas, especially for skilled professionals, leaves many with no choice but to resort to smuggling networks, which charge exorbitant fees. Additionally, economic opportunities in the US, along with the promise of better job prospects, attract many young, ambitious Indians. With a demographic profile dominated by young males seeking to build a better future, India is now a growing contributor to illegal immigration. 4. Guatemala. Guatemala, with its tumultuous history of violence, political instability, and economic struggles, has long been a source of illegal immigration to the United States. Data from the Migration Policy Institute shows that in 2021, about 560,000 unauthorized immigrants from Guatemala were residing in the U.S. A combination of violence, poverty, and the impact of natural disasters continues to drive migration from this Central American nation. Violence, especially gang-related crime, has reached alarming levels, with many Guatemalans feeling that there is no hope of escaping the violence. Poverty, coupled with poor educational and employment opportunities, leaves many with no choice but to seek a better life elsewhere. Natural disasters such as earthquakes and hurricanes frequently displace thousands, pushing people to flee to safer and more stable environments. Despite the dangers of the journey north, many Guatemalans are willing to risk everything for a chance at a better life in the US. 5. Venezuela. Venezuela's migration crisis has reached new heights in recent years. As of 2022, around 270,000 Venezuelans are living in the US without legal status. The reasons for this surge in migration are rooted in a severe political and economic collapse. Venezuela has been embroiled in political turmoil since 2013, with protests against the government resulting in widespread persecution of opposition groups. The economic situation is equally dire, with hyperinflation rendering basic necessities like food and medicine almost impossible to afford. As a result, many Venezuelans are driven to leave their homes in search of safety and stability. What makes Venezuela unique is the growing number of educated professional migrants who are forced to leave despite having the skills and qualifications to survive elsewhere. The journey to the US often takes them through multiple countries, including Colombia and Central America, before they reach their final destination. Before we continue with the rest of the list, we want to hear from you. Have you ever encountered someone who faced challenges due to illegal immigration or migration policies? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you're finding this video insightful, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more updates on global immigration trends. 6. The Philippines. The Philippines has a long-standing history of migration to the US, dating back to the early 20th century. Migration Policy Institute highlighted that in 2022, there were about 380,000 unauthorized Filipino immigrants in the United States, despite being one of the largest immigrant groups in the country. So why do so many Filipinos choose to leave their homeland and seek opportunities in the US? One of the main driving forces is economic opportunity. With high unemployment rates and widespread underemployment, many Filipinos migrate in search of better-paying jobs. Family reunification plays a critical role too. With millions of Filipinos already settled in the US, many choose to join their relatives, further fueling the migration cycle. Some Filipinos initially enter on temporary visas, but overstay their permits due to financial hardship or family obligations. 7. China. China, with its rapidly growing economy and political landscape, has become a significant source of undocumented immigrants in the US. As of recent estimates, around 400,000 undocumented Chinese nationals reside in the US. The reasons behind this migration vary, but they often stem from political repression, economic disparities, and educational aspirations. Many Chinese individuals, particularly those from rural areas, seek better economic opportunities and improved living standards in the US. Political repression also plays a major role, as individuals who oppose the Chinese government or advocate for democracy face persecution. Additionally, China's education system has led many students to pursue higher education abroad, but after graduation, many of them find it difficult to return home due to limited job opportunities or fear of persecution. 8. Colombia. Colombia, with its decades-long history of internal conflict and violence, continues to be a significant contributor to illegal immigration in the US. An estimated 130,000 unauthorized Colombian immigrants are currently living in the US. The reason for this migration, according to the Migration Policy Institute, is the guerrilla groups and paramilitary organizations that escalated during the 1980s and 1990s and have made entire regions unsafe, forcing families to flee their homes. Economic hardship and high unemployment rates exacerbate the situation, pushing many to seek a better life in the US. The journey from Colombia to the US is not an easy one. Many migrants face dangerous routes, often traveling through Central America and Mexico before attempting to cross the US border. Once in the US, they find themselves in a precarious position, facing the constant threat of deportation and limited access to essential services like healthcare and education. 9. Brazil. Brazil, despite being one of South America's largest economies, has also become a notable source of illegal immigration to the US. Migration Policy Institute noted that in 2022, approximately 150,000 unauthorized Brazilian immigrants were residing in the US. The reasons for this increase are multifaceted. While Brazil has experienced significant economic growth, it has also faced severe inflation, high unemployment rates, and growing political instability. Economic disparities between the rich and the poor, along with rising crime rates, have made life difficult for many Brazilians. The political turmoil, along with dissatisfaction with government policies, has also pushed many to seek stability elsewhere. The journey to the US is fraught with danger. Many Brazilians enter on tourist or student visas and overstay their permits due to economic hardship or family obligations. Smuggling networks also play a role, facilitating illegal entry into the US for those who can afford the exorbitant fees. 10. Dominican Republic. Finally, the Dominican Republic has long been a source of illegal immigration to the US, particularly since the 1980s. As of recent estimates, approximately 164,000 unauthorized Dominican immigrants are residing in the US, making up about 1% of the total undocumented population. The reasons for this migration are closely tied to economic hardship and political instability. According to the World Food Program USA, poverty still affects over 40% of the population in the Dominican Republic, with 10.4% living in extreme poverty, leading many individuals to seek better opportunities abroad. Political instability, fueled by corruption and mismanagement, has further exacerbated these challenges, prompting many to flee in search of safety and stability. Family reunification is another critical factor, with many Dominicans migrating to join relatives who have already settled in the US. Now, here's a surprising twist. While we've discussed the difficulties many people face in reaching the US, one country continues to stand out as a beacon of hope for migrants. Canada has maintained relatively open immigration policies compared to other nations. As of 2025, Canada remains a top destination for those seeking asylum, with its inclusive policies and diverse immigration pathways. Unlike the tightening restrictions in the US, Canada continues to offer numerous immigration programs, including the Skilled Worker Program, student visas, and family sponsorship. It has proven to be a welcoming country for those escaping political and economic turmoil in their home countries. While the US has focused on tightening its borders, Canada has continued to foster an environment where newcomers can find safety, stability, and opportunities for growth. So while illegal immigration to the US has surged, many have found refuge in Canada instead. So there you have it, the top 10 countries contributing to illegal immigration in the US. As you can see, each country's migration patterns are influenced by a unique combination of economic, political, and social factors. From Mexico's long-standing migration trends to Venezuela's growing crisis, these countries face immense challenges that push many of their citizens to seek a better life in the US. Understanding the dynamics behind these migration flows is crucial for shaping more effective and compassionate immigration policies. But this is just the beginning. The landscape of illegal immigration is constantly evolving, and as global conditions change, so too will the sources of migration. If you found this video insightful, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and share it with your friends. And don't forget to check out our next video, 10 Most Beautiful Cities in California. Trust me, you won't want to miss it.